Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kinder Conversations. I am your host, Kyra. I know y'all missed us last week. We wasn't here last week because of so many different reasons. And but we are here today. So we're gonna get this party started so we can get on, get off, and have the rest of our night to ourselves. We won't be having, or at least I don't think the deacon is coming on tonight. He is away on school business. So, yeah. So it's going to be me and Sean and our lovely co-host, guest co-host. So let's bring Mr. Sean to say hi.
Hi.
Really?
That's what you
That's what
call
you're gonna
for.
do after you ain't been here in 3 weeks?
That's what I'm about to say. I'm sorry. I've been gone for a minute. I've been working. Plus, y'all, we was off last week. I know I missed the week before that. I'm sorry. I miss you guys. I hope you miss me. See my hat? See my work on my hat?
It says "Make America Great Again."
No, it don't. I'm wearing my hat.
I'm just playing. I say that about every red hat that I see. I say it says, "Let's make America great again."
Yeah, I got it especially for that to trick people.
I don't even be knowing what the heck be saying. I just be like, whatever.
You see my hat?
Made you look. Black Lives Matter. I like that. I like that.
See that?
I do. I do. I do. I like it. I like it. All right, peoples. Like I said, Derek will not be on tonight because he is taking care of his business, but we do have a special guest co-host. Um, I know her. Sean knows her. Her name is Natasha Perilla. She's a director of communications and early learning initiatives in DC. So I'm going to bring Miss Natasha Perilla on.
Hello.
How you
Hello.
doing?
I didn't know I was co-hosting. That was news to me.
Yeah, it's as a co-host, you the guest co-host.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. I didn't know you were gone for 3 weeks. Where were you?
I went to the strip club.
Oh.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm chilling.
All I know is I wasn't invited.
I didn't
So
know that type of club.
We don't need that kind of sauce.
no, we do not.
I was working. Whenever I work, I don't come on. So I don't need the sirens all in the background. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Got you.
I'll be in the comment section.
Oh, that's good.
I might throw my little shade in the comment section, but as far as being on the show, I don't want to be on the show and then boom, an alarm come on. I'll be like, all right, yeah, I'll be back.
That would actually be kind of cool to see like the behind the scenes of the firehouse.
Oh, you ain't gonna see no behind the scenes.
You can't see that?
You just gonna hear the siren.
I always
How
wonder
you
what
wanna?
you do. Do y'all make sandwiches? Is it like the TV show?
Did you just
Chicago
say?
Fire and stuff
Oh
like
my
that?
God! Did you just say? Do y'all make sandwiches?
Yeah, like I keep picturing just a lot of food on a table, people wearing
Yeah,
suspenders.
they eat very well. They eat very well at the firehouse.
Yeah.
Sean be up there making shrimp and lobster and filet mignon and yeah, they eat very damn good.
She just said, "I picture
Sean,
suspenders."
Yes, I do. Suspenders and red hmm just like on the TV show.
Oh
Chicago.
my God! Yes, we walk around in suspenders
I
and
thought
eat
you did.
sandwiches. That's what we
Okay.
do.
Thank you for validating that because I really thought y'all did. So thank you. Now I know.
Oh
That
God!
it's just like the TV show.
Yes, it's
So is it
exactly.
dramatic like the TV show? Like is somebody dating the commissioner of New Jersey and stuff like that, or a police officer? Is it that dramatic like the TV?
No.
Turn the TV off. Ain't that's what Kendrick Lamar said?
He did.
Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off.
That's the only thing, unless
That's
y'all do a
Hollywood.
reality, y'all could do a
So
firehouse
basically,
reality.
firefighting is nothing like the TV.
Nothing like on TV. Okay.
Yeah.
So no real action is going on. Do you do calendars? Do you all do calendars? Like for fundraising?
No, they thought about it, but no.
They didn't do it.
You can't have all this on no calendar. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh,
I would love
absolutely right.
to see that
I
calendar.
be thinking.
It'll be crazy
I
out here.
would love to
you
see
all
that calendar.
Y'all could do you could ask all firefighters within the Essex or Passaic County to come together and do 12 months. And then you all could sell it and then you donate it to your charities of choice.
Mhm. Trust me, it was
Okay.
spoken of. It was spoken of in the department. But yeah, let's get into this topic that I'm gonna be very limited on.
Let's get on.
My dog.
Hey, Irene. So tonight's topic is why are essential life skills not taught in public? Doing a little bit of research. I ain't gonna say I did a whole lot, but I was noticing that they were saying that like financial literacy and home ownership and stuff like that are being taught in some schools, just not in public schools. So I'm wondering, it's all right, dogs are allowed. Cody comes on and sneaks a little bit. So I'm just wondering if this is just a public school thing, or is it for private schools, charter schools, or the schools that these kids go to? Because if that's the case, if it's just public schools don't have this type of stuff, then why is that? Is it because it's an urban area? It's because public schools don't sometimes in urban areas and they can't afford to have these type of things in the school? Because I know when we lived in Newark, I think my kids got a better education in Newark than they did when we came back to Patterson. Because when we came back to Patterson, there was like everything was going. Like everything was going. It wasn't even music.
What was the difference, if you don't mind me asking? What was the difference?
From Newark to Patterson. Well, my kids used to go to a school called Maple Lab, and like my daughter, she was like in 4th, 5th grade. She was coming home with, even though it was a lot of homework, she was on a lot of papers. The teachers were a lot more involved.
Mm-hmm.
She played the instrument. She played the violin, and she used to play at the Fiddle Fest at NJ Pack in the summer. But it's like when we came back, it was like there was nothing. Like she couldn't play violin in the schools anyway, not in public school, because they didn't have music anymore. I didn't know they took gym out of the schools. So that was like, okay.
They took gym out.
They only had gym when my kids came back here. They only had gym once a week, and before it was like an everyday thing. So it was,
and that's grammar school.
Like now it's just like once a week, and it was just like my kids were bored. Like they first year back in Patterson going to school, it was horrible. They were bored. It was like we had a rough year, put it like that, because I think it was that because they was being taught a little bit more advanced in Maple than they were when they came back here. And then when you sit down and you have conversations with the teachers, it's like, well, this is our curriculum and this is what we have to, this is, this is what we go by. This is what we teach them. And that's just that. And then I'm just like, okay, so it's just like, you have to take whatever they're going to give you. But like, even now, my son, I was so happy when the charter school called me back. So my son goes to College Achieve now. And it's just different than him when he was going to school for. It's just different.
College Achieve is different.
The education is different. The teachers are more, and his school don't even do Fs. It's ABC. There's no Ds and Fs.
And College Achieve.
Yeah, if you get down to a D, to them that's failing, and they have to start. They put them in mandatory tutoring. They have to, which is 4 days out of the week. They have to go to Saturday school. It's mandatory, so they can pick their grades up.
So they raise the standard.
Exactly. Whereas in other schools, like in school 4, a D was passing. So that was a big shocker to me. I was like, when they was like, yeah, there's no D's here. And I was like, okay. Like, so it made you have to like really
step your game up.
Because you have to make sure that your kid is gonna. Hopefully, people make sure their kids are gonna go to the next grade. So you have to push them, and they learn. They learned a lot. Like my son this year, he had financial literacy in school, but I know that would not have been available, of course, at school 4.
Yeah, and I just read that they have their seniors had they got 100% college acceptance.
Yeah, this their second year in a row, they got 100% college acceptance for their seniors. So yeah,
okay.
It's a good school, and they are involved and things like that. But it just makes me wonder: is it just the public schools that don't get? Go ahead, Tasha.
So you talked about Maple Avenue School in Newark. So with Newark Public Schools, under the superintendent, Roger Leone, his high schools are really different. Like they have a high school for carpentry. They have, they either have or they will have like a high school for design and fashion. And from what I understand, they learn plumbing, HVAC as well. So when they get those, when they learn those different things, the school actually hires them for that skill set. So Newark's always been innovative and trying to do right by children, especially because Roger, the superintendent there, he lived in Newark. He lived there. He was born there. He was raised there. He went to school, the grammar schools, the high school. He went to college there. So he was one of those children. And so he knows exactly what they need and how to invest in them. And I think he's doing a really good job with how he's working the different high schools and whatnot, especially teaching them a trade or some way of a skill set, and then hiring them into the system. I don't know how many schools do that.
Now, is that the vocational school or is that charters?
So no, that's a public school. It's Newark Public Schools.
Oh, so the public schools offer what charters over here offer, basically.
MPS does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When they have a good curriculum, he has a good strategic plan. Like if you go on his website, the Newark Public Schools website, you'll see all of the different initiatives that they're doing there. And the schools and those children, was one child, he was in the paper because he was accepted into a lot of different Ivy League universities. One of them was, from what I recall from memory, was Harvard. And he went to a Newark Public Schools. So.
Ivory says, I know my son's school added financial literacy like 2 years ago. What school do your son go to, Ivory? Even though I kind of know the answer, but you tell me anyway. And look who came and joined us today. What's up, Derek? What's up, Beat?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all that other good stuff.
How Oregon treating you?
A lot of walking.
Getting them steps in. Getting them steps in.
All right. All right. So I lost my train of thought because Derek took me away.
You asked Ivory what school her child went to for financial literacy.
All right. Okay. So this is also my question, and Derek, you could chime in too because you are an educator as well. Um, do y'all think that public schools are the ones that are targeted to not have these type of things in their schools? Because I do know at one point we did used to have like home economics and like a shop type of thing in school and stuff
Different
like that.
trades.
Everything is completely gone. It's just school.
Well, that comes with the cutting of budgets. When the budgets get cut, you take a you strip a district down to its bare minimum, and the bare minimum are the basic necessities that you need to get through college. So you're not doing a trade or those type of things because those are not the things that the original formula was you go to school, you go to preschool, you go to kindergarten, you go to middle school, you go to high school, and then you go to college. So that's what the pipeline was. It wasn't a, oh, you go find a trade or you go do something else. The original formula was that very flow of how things were going to be. So when they started knocking stuff off because of budget cuts, those were the simplest things to go because those are not things that you need to graduate. So you're going to see you see that, and now you see it slowly entering back in, but it's only being entered back in um, as a teaser or a taster to make it seem like, oh, what we're offering is so much greater, so much better than what these schools are offering because we're offering this. But there, if you really go and dig really deep into these programs that offer a lot of these trades, there's no substance. So it's really a fly by course. So as long as they show up and they do a project or a report, they just get an A. There's no substance to it where they can say, okay, I'm going to take this and leave it. I'm going to take this to another. I'm going to take this to the next level. Um, you do find in certain other places. I heard Natasha talking about Newark Public Schools where um, they are you know, they are doing the public school system there is the superintendent. He's really investing in the kids, and
Mhm.
he's given the added substance. But if you ever do the research on the superintendent, I just popped on, so I don't know if Natasha already touched on it, but he's a product of that environment. Like he
Yes,
came
what she
from a single
said.
mother. He was a single. He was in a single mother household. He tells this story all the time. So you know he gets a lot of backlash, and I'm pretty sure that they spend a lot of wakeless nights trying to figure out how to get him out of that seat, because he's willing to invest into the kids and give them the substance that they need. Because a lot of districts they're not worrying about the substance. They only worrying about numbers.
Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, I think the superintendent there is invested in those. He's invested in that community. It is his community, and those children are the product of it. I remember another superintendent who was there. We were looking out of the window, and we were looking out of Broad Street, and you saw just these poor souls, and he said they are the product of this establishment. And that was like, it was true, because if you go, he said, if we were in Montclair and we were looking out of the window and you see people walking and whatnot, they are a product of their education in that community. And he wanted, it was his, he wanted to change that. So, as we see these different urban areas and whatnot, hopefully the product will be much different and better.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, you take those trades, it kind of sets you up. I'm in this question. Does it set you up more for entrepreneurship versus just sending you through school to, basically create more workers in the
Well, no,
field?
I think with that curriculum, they teach them mathematics, language arts literacy, critical thinking, problem solving. It's not just the trade, but it's the academics that go along with it, so that they don't have to work for Newark Public Schools, even though I think that's a great option, but they could make their own business.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, they
Like,
can do that because plumbing, you get,
yeah,
whatever amount hourly and so forth. So I don't see why not.
yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, just going off of what the Deacon was saying, like the first thing that people strip away is those trades.
Mm-hmm.
But a high rate of, those schools that teach these children those trades, that will set them up to, to create their own business, give them a skill set that they can actually, take and, progress with that. As
And not
far, I
just
mean,
that, but they could also learn to invest as
yeah,
well. That's another skill that it'll teach them, for a life skill, to invest. Because if they know about that product or that industry, they know exactly where to
yeah.
invest and what that companies will have, like to invest in, whether it's in stock or it's to invest in a startup.
But earlier though, the biggest piece is not the trade. The biggest piece is make sure that the trade is of something of substance, because a lot of these programs aren't. A lot of these programs don't have the substance that's needed for the children to say, for students to say, you know what, I'm gonna take this to the next level. I'm gonna use this skill to do this. Like they'll teach you basics, like the basic plumbing or basic electrical basic wiring, but it's not going any deeper than that. So it's not enough of it. It's not enough substance of it for someone to say, okay, I'm gonna turn this into a business.
I mean,
So
but that's what I'm saying. Should it be more structured, and should we look into that more? Because you can go to somewhere like a Hohokus in the Eastwick after you get out of high school, and even get an internship, once you get out of high school. But if you pique that interest while you're in school by offering these trades, a kid may say, you know what, let me go into HVAC, let me go into plumbing, let me go into electric, let me go into all of these different things, refrigeration and all of these other different things, because it's offered, because it's presented. When I came up, you had shop, you had home economics, you had, all of these different things. Now, if that's not offered or even presented to me, you know, how would I even have it to pique an interest if it's not presented? So is that a thing that it needs to be at least offered or presented to, whereas I can say, you know what, I like to build, I like to create. Carpentry is huge. It's amazing. You got people that learn how to, like me in a fire service, right? When I'm in a fire service, there's a lot of people that come from other communities. And they already know about building construction before they even get to fire. They know about electric before they get to fire.
Mm-hmm.
They know about what type of houses. There's 5 different type of house structures. It's all type of things that once, people, us and a lot of us from this community go into firefighting, we're starting at the ground level. Where a lot of these people, they're already done roofing, they've already been dealing with electric, they've already been dealing with plumbing, they've been dealing with HVAC, and that's from their communities and the things that their community offered them. And then they went into secondary education or internship, to intern for somebody or some, company or whatever. And they're knowledgeable when they get in, and it helps you with firefighting.
right, but most of you understand that most of those communities, they're not coming. It's not because there's a trade being offered in school. Most of those communities already have family members who are well into those areas of vocation. So
Oh, that as
if
well. Yeah.
so if I have so when we say look at We have to look at community and understand what community is offering. And when you don't have that, when little Tito don't have he don't have an uncle or a cousin or somebody close to him that's in these type of vocations. All his family do is sit outside of Foot Lockers to get the newest Jordans. That's what their mindset is going to be.
Yeah.
You have to first show the
Okay,
change the community. You first have to change the community so that the community can first show that these things are important, and that's what's not happening. We don't show that these things are important. You can bring 15 different programs to the city and say these programs we're starting a program with Hohokus, or we're starting a program with uh Servants Hearts, and it's free. We just need you to come and do it, and nobody won't touch it because they don't find it they don't find the value in it. So you have to first build the value within the community, so then they see it in the community. They see how people are benefiting from it and seeing that they can do this too, and they can build a better life through it, and then offer it
Yeah.
to the students. But until you build that value within the community, it's like all the other programs that we have that you see coming into the community. They're there, and then you may get other nationalities that'll come, and they'll come through and they'll take up all the spots, get all the education, and take it out of the city. While
That's
our
all about
city
to say.
still suffers.
That's all about to say. We have to prioritize it because maybe our community is not looking into it that way. Like I remember DJ Envy saying something about about the school system that his kids are in, and they offer uh, realtor stocks,
DJ.
all types of other things versus just math, social studies, reading, writing, this, that, and the third. They offer other things.
Awesome. That would be awesome if I got realtor stock when I was
Yeah.
we were going because I think when I went into Kennedy, I think we had 1 year together. I was a freshman, you were a senior, I believe. And so anyway, that year, I think there was a teacher for photography.
Mm.
I believe there was, because I remember being taught how to use the camera. But then something happened and I didn't have the class anymore.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is cut because of the interest. Now that goes back to the household as well, because we have to prioritize and present these things as well. You take a guy like Rodney Addison, right? He came to me and was like, let's create a mechanic workshop for children. And we got in touch with a master mechanic, and we put it out there and to the community. And there was it was a few kids, it was a nice amount of kids. They came out and we secured an area in the city, and we taught the kids how to change tires, how to change brakes, how to, they kind of like stripped Rodney's car, basically, from the basics on your ground level stuff to teach the kids. But there wasn't a lot of parents, saying, let me bring my kid to this. So sometimes it lands on us too. It lands on us too.
About it? Like
Yes. We put it out there. It's shared 1 million times. But like I said, if it don't pique somebody's interest,
but
it's like
y'all had a decent interest in it. Y'all had at least 10, 15 kids.
And that's sad. That's my point. It's sad.
But no, it's not. Okay, first of all, we can't say it's sad because let's look at the demographic of the city. Most of the you want to outpour parents who are outpour parents. At the time that you're offering these things, most of those parents are still at work.
We're assuming that. We're assuming that
a good number of those parents. We're not assuming because
we have
statistic.
It's definitely. I mean, if you want to look at statistics, you could just basically go off of the people that don't work.
Right.
There's more than 10 parents that don't work. Now, if you don't work, wouldn't you want your child to have a skill set so they don't continue in the same path that you're in?
If you don't work, if I don't work, and I live on the east side, and you're doing something on the north side, how I'm getting my child over there and getting my
You're
child back?
creating
No,
reality
I'm not.
right
I'm
now.
making. I'm you.
I
You're
can give
making.
you no, I can give you exactly what we did. We held that class on North Main.
Right. I saw it.
We walked past 50 kids.
Right. I understand what you're saying.
We
But here's
saw
the but
we
but
saw
here
50 parents.
but you don't have you but you don't see the value in 10 kids because you walk past 50 kids. When
No, I
10
didn't. No, not
kids
that I don't.
no,
Not
but
that
that's what I'm
I
saying
don't.
because you did the class and then the class disappeared. That's always what happens in our community.
No, he's doing it again.
We can't raise the banner because we did something for a week and said, well, we
No,
did
no,
this.
no, that's wrong. No, and I won't allow you to do that. I won't allow you to do that.
All right,
He's doing the
Rashawn.
class again. He's doing the class again.
Rashawn, that class was 2 years ago.
No,
ago.
we're doing. You have to have the information. We're the class
information
is,
was that you offered the class 2 years ago. 2 years
okay
ago. What happened last year? It didn't
because
happen.
he's doing.
It's not.
I'll answer.
You're bringing the class back, but it's a 2 years lapse in it. So
I'll answer.
What are those 10? What about those 10 kids?
Yeah, I think what he's trying to say is like you need consistency. If people
And I'm trying to answer.
No,
the
Roshan,
program was.
you throw these things out and you throw these things like we supposed to give y'all claps on the back, but y'all don't do consistency. Y'all don't
Hold up, nobody's asking for no claps on the back. That's nobody asking for claps on the back. That's definitely not true.
I'm saying you're making these statements like it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, but it's no consistency. You had 10 kids who showed up. Y'all had T-shirts for them. It looked great, and then it died. Those 10 kids didn't come back for anything else. You did. You showed y'all.
That's not true, Derek. That's not true.
And how to
That's not true.
But when did you bring up? Where was the follow up? Where was
that's
the next
not
level?
True. That's not true. I'm trying to answer you. Where
are they? When the last time did you meet up? Did y'all meet up with the kids?
I'm trying to answer you.
I'm quiet. I'm all ears.
Okay. Rodney does photography. He does mechanic. He does a lot of different things. The program that was created wasn't a one scale thing. It was, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. So in the meantime, trying to collaborate with different artists, with different people that can come in and give a skill set to the kids, to give different skill sets. So whereas we want to create it under one roof. So it was created to do mechanics in this area and at this time. Then you're going to do photography in this time, and then you're going to do entrepreneur. You do a youthpreneurial every so often. We building it right now. So whereas we're I forget the young girl Trinity, the girl Trinity. She does an online podcast. Malachi's Mission as well. So it wasn't just mechanics. You're going to touch on different aspects of trades and training, but the help from the community is needed as well, because people see these programs.
I can agree that the community does have to
people watch these things.
These programs to get off the floor, because I know for a fact, like me and Sean both do Nifty. And in order for Nifty to get donations to help these kids do, to do the sports and do the things that we do with them, the community has to help us. Yes. Otherwise, we're paying for this stuff out of our own pockets. Yes. So it's going to be kind of hard to have consistency when you don't have a lot of help to keep it consistent.
Yeah, you got a lot of talkers. You got a lot of people that criticize. You got a lot of people that put eyes on stuff on Facebook. You got a lot of people that why they ain't do it this way and why they ain't do it that way. But at the same time, you can come and you can help out. You can come. That's like I spread myself thin.
You can come and find the funding. You can look for the funding for a program.
Yeah,
you can look for the funding for a program.
When I hear you all, it sounds like you should
put the program together and then find the funding.
There is nonprofits. The problem is You'll have somebody doing a nonprofit and doing what they do, and you'll have, instead of the 50 people on the side saying, let me help this nonprofit out. Let me help these people out. They're on the side criticizing everything that nonprofit isn't doing, instead of saying, let me go ahead and add on to this. Let me go ahead and help these people out.
I think that's a part of organizing.
Community.
Is that you're going to have, your naysayers, and then you're going to have your positive folks. But I think if you all do complete, you develop this nonprofit, you have your goals, your missions, your objectives, and then your action items, and implement those, make that plan, then you can also get that grant money. You can get, and there's a lot of different organizations that'll provide that. Then you could develop your calendar for whatever, your capacity is, whatever your programs are, and so forth. Your budget for materials. Then you won't need these other folks to help you, because you'll get the assistance and support you need from the grants that you receive. And then as you produce outcomes with your data and whatnot, then you'll get more funding, it'll grow and so forth. And then maybe you'll also produce a product where you could be self-sustaining. And then that's when
I agree. I agree. But I think the biggest problem is a lot of people don't appreciate the process. They want finished products.
But they don't. You know what? You're absolutely right about that.
And a lot of people,
but a lot of people don't know about process. See, all of
they
those
do. They do. They do.
Actually, they don't.
No, a lot of people do is what I'm saying. A lot of people do. They'll watch you build and build and build and build and build. And that's my point. Instead of saying, let me help this out, let me add to this, they'll sit back and they'll criticize the whole process the whole time.
Yeah,
instead of saying, let me take some weight off of this. But let me add this.
The majority, there are a small amount of like trendsetters. That's what I used to call it. It was like, you got some of those people who will just go out and they're going to do it. They don't need the data. They don't need the money. They're just going to go and do it. Then you got that small set, that middle set that says, I'm going to watch what he do or she does first. See if they're successful with it. Then I'll try it. Then
they'll jump on the bandwagon.
Right. And then you got that last group that are like, I don't care what you do. I'm not doing it. I don't care if you're successful. I don't care if you fall on your behind for it.
And they're online doing this. They're online doing this.
They're gonna criticize you and all of that because they didn't try it. And
but there's also
types of people we will always run into.
But there is also a group of people who will be willing to offer their expertise, but the people who are in the place of developing the program don't think highly enough of them to take what they're saying, and those people take their expertise someplace else.
But you got to flip that coin as well. You got to flip that coin as well, because you'll have people that have programs. And hold up, Derek. You have people that have programs in play, but because some people don't mess with other people and some people don't like other people, they're not going to offer their services to them.
But some people won't offer the service because they've already worked with the person and they already see how the person works or how the person operates, and they don't want to deal with that nonsense. And that's what a mission is for.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that.
A mission is supposed to everything,
but you do get that when you have people that's at a certain level and people do. Like, no, to me, I always feel like you have no idea what somebody else has to offer until you allow them to offer it to you. So even when you are trying to, because I've jumped into that before, and I just walk away from stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you feel as though that whatever I have to offer isn't good enough for you, or whatever I have to say isn't good enough because you feel as though you're higher than me or you're better than me, then okay, you can keep that, and I know where to go to do other things that people are going to appreciate what I have to say, and people are going to take my suggestions seriously instead of be like, oh, okay, and then you just push it off to the side. So I get where Derek is coming from. I get where Sean is coming from. I get where Tasha is, explaining certain things. I get all of that. But guess what? We just did. Got completely off the topic of why we don't got these type of things in school.
We don't have these things in school any longer because there's a disconnect with parents and community.
That's what I said. That's where this came from. What are you talking
And
about?
we allow for the district to tell us what they're going to do with our children rather than us telling the district what they're going to do with our children. So and it's set up that way. It's
Okay,
set
let
up
me
that
ask
way
you a
when you go
question.
into a
Is there a way? Is there a way for community to? Is there a way for community in this in the school in the Board of Education for us to get these things back? Like, what do we have to do in order to get these things back
you got to show
into the school or
you have to
start them
show
back
up.
up
You
into
got
the
to show
school?
up and demand these things back. You have to change. First of all, you have to change the way the school board has set up and ran school board meetings now. Because if you notice how school board meetings are ran, they do public portion and they go into executive meeting. They wait parents out so that
Yeah.
once the parents go home to tend to their kids, then the real business of the district can go forth. So if I want to get rid of a program, if I want to do something, I'm going to wait out those parents. That's going to be the ones that's going to say something, the ones that are going to show up. I'm going to wait them out. When they're gone, then I'm going to put this policy on deck, on the floor, to be voted out, and everybody votes it out, and it's done. And you can't bring it's 10 times harder to bring a program back once you get rid of it than it is to stop a program before they get rid of it. But until parents start showing up and saying you're not, if you're gonna, if there's a policy that's going to be voted on, there has to be a process that goes through to it. It has to go before a parent board. Parents have to vote on it, and then it goes back to the school board. And if it makes it past the parents, it goes to the school board. Then they can vote on it. Then you'll start seeing things change. But until then, all you're going to have is parents showing up after the fact of saying, why is this gotten rid of? And there's nothing you can do because it's already been passed.
Okay.
But there should be parents on those school boards, and then you could also like run, like, you know, from what I'm hearing from Kyra and Roshan, you two could run for a board seat, board of ed seat, and make a lot of different change happen. If you wanted to, you'd be a part of the budget, you'd be a part of all of those types of decisions that happen in Passaic County, for Patterson specifically. So, and then also too, and if those sorts of things happen, like here in DC, these parents do not play. They know these journalists, they know the reporters, they have relationships with them. There is nothing they could do here in DC without it just doesn't happen. But these parents are advocates. They know the system. They know how, if something does get passed and they don't like it, they know that they could always protest, and they could always go to a journalist, which will add on to things changing for them. And
I agree.
There's a person, what's her name?
I'm sorry, excuse
Anna,
me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
What happened?
I sneezed.
No, you sneezed. I said bless you.
Oh, sorry. So, but you know, you got those certain people in your towns who advocate for you and whatnot. So, but yeah, I mean,
I agree. Let's take myself, right.
Basically, if we want to get certain things put back into the school system, it's going to be a very big process to even get financial literacy to be in public schools.
Well, you can start
right?
But it's not, because there are literally nonprofits who get money to do it. So it's literally coming up with a proposal, present a proposal to a school for a test pilot program, or present a proposal to the board, get in contact with one of the nonprofits who that is their niche, and create a program. They wrote a program and maybe program out in maybe 3 or 4 schools. They take data, they come back, then you roll it out again. It's not something hard. It's not something you don't have to have money. You just got to know the people who have the money.
And you can reach out to your congressman as well, because they'll reach out to that board and what have you, and push it even quicker. Because if you could get a congressman interested in what you're saying, and you, because Congress people are going to listen to their voters and whatnot. As long as you've got their vote, they'll do what you need. They'll make it top priority.
But
All
that's
you got
another issue in Patterson because we have a very bad voter turnout. So
well,
so
somebody has to select them.
there's a concoction of problems within certain communities that the options are limited because of these certain things.
It's been my experience to get to know your Congress people, get to know because I forgot what they call them over in Jersey, but over here there's usually like a town executive or something like that. Get to know them, and they need to know you, know their staffers and what have you, and you could make a lot of different change. I know I've done it for an entire organization where where it was a grant. It was for K-12. I got in touch with some staffers. We needed pre-K included. They came to our school where that was set up, and after that we told them why we needed to be added to this. Then in 2 months we saw that it was added, and then it was for $7 million. And then by the time Christmas came and the new year, we had received the grant. And all I did was reach out to 7 different staffers from Lamar Alexander, and it was bipartisan. Lamar Alexander's office, he's a Republican. There was Virginia Fox for Virginia, Congressman Bobby Scott. Their staffers came because they're the ones that write up those bills and whatnot. And they did it. They listened to us. They wrote it up. We applied, received.
Awesome. But I ultimately, I think that
Thomas says that most. Hold up 1 second. Thomas says that most congressmen are corrupted, and he said, Tasha, you must be talking about private schools and not public schools.
No, this was a charter school I did this for. And let me remind you, charter schools are public as well.
Okay.
They are, but they're not.
True.
They are public charter schools.
No, they are public schools, but they're not. Like if we look at there's no because public schools have a governing body. There's no the charter schools are their own governing body.
What a charter school has is a board. That is the difference between a charter school and the other type of public school. But we all get the same funds from taxes and so forth.
Right. But
the only difference is with charter schools, each charter school is mandated to have a board, which is the governing body. It's a governance of that school individual.
Right, but the person who starts the charter school picks their
and
board.
They have to report to a board. Like, so in DC, there's the DC Public Charter School Board. They authorize the schools in DC, so everyone is held accountable. Even in for assessments with DCPCSB, they have this new assessment called Aspire, and with that holds all. There are over 160 charter schools in DC, and they have to be held accountable by them. They are tiered, but well, now it's changed from tier 1 to 5. If you are a tier 4, there's just some type of conditions that they provide you. And then by tier 5, you're closing. It could be for financial reasons. It could be for lack of academic outcomes, but they are held strongly responsibly for their the academics at each school. DC, they don't play. I don't know, but it goes by state because Maryland but Maryland is different than DC. They're authorized by based off of your county, but not the way DCPSB is.
Right.
But it's different.
So back to it, it's basically your parents advocating and showing up and holding accountability at the end of the day. Because
is key, because that's what makes people do what they need to do.
Yes, voters. It's bigger than parents. It's bigger than parents. It's voters. Period. Because
parents are voters, but what I'm saying is,
because you can have let's do you have 1,000 parents, right? But you have 10,000 voters.
I get it. Well,
you can't 1,000 parents can't hold somebody accountable if that person is a popular with 9,000 other people who are voters. So so you have to get voters in line with understanding and educated with what's going on
Okay.
within the school system, and then move accordingly. But until you get that done, you're always going to have the same problem. You're always going to have the popular vote, the popular person. If they doing nothing, if they could be doing jack for the district, but because they're popular, they're going to continue to hold a seat and do nothing. So it's
Okay.
bigger than just the parents. You got to bring that whole voting situation into a certain standard.
Okay. That's why I said you have advocating, showing up, and accountability, right? Parents are voters, right? If our parents really showed up, because I've been to the school board meeting. I've been and it's not it wasn't what I thought. I was like, whoa, like 20 people here, not even. I sat down with.
our school board meetings.
I'm sorry.
I say, yeah, you're right. Parents and we're here in Patterson. Parents don't show up at them school board meetings.
Exactly.
They offer it
Hold up. Let me
virtually?
finish. Let me finish.
Yes,
Let me finish. Let me finish. You have let's say Hohokus, right? We sat down with Hohokus and they created a program there where Patterson residents get free tuition and mandatory job placement. They just needed to have a Patterson residence and pass a drug test. We put it out there and nobody showed up. All right. We put it out there as best as we can. It's hold up, wait. And as far as, let's say, civil service, right? Bronze Heat, civil service, teach these classes every time the tests come up for free. Put it out there. We partner with Kemper McDowell to host classes at the community center right there on the corner of Market and Madison. These classes in other cities cost $600 for 2 days. We're giving them for free. Put it out there, flooded the community, handed out flyers downtown Patterson, went into the public school systems, take these tests. You're gonna, you know what I mean? Whereas you'll make $150,000 a year. You know, the bare minimum showed up. I even spoke to him about having bilingual classes from English to Spanish to teach the community classes. He created the program. So I'm connecting with these people to create these programs, putting it out there, flooding it out there in the streets or whatever, certain things, and nobody's showing up.
Okay.
But when it's time for football season, right? Football season, every team is full. Every team is full.
That's apples and oranges.
No, it's what you choose to do.
No, it's not what you choose to do. You can't use firefighters because number one, you can't have a record and be a firefighter. So if you already in a city where majority of the people that you're passing fires out already have records from even being juveniles, like if you want to do that, then there should be you should do more expungement classes than anything to get
There
them
is
prepared to
expungement
be able to do
classes.
so. No, that's you need to do more expungement classes.
Yeah, but people don't show up for that neither. I partnered with Rebecca from Task Force to do an expungement class. Nobody showed up. So you have these programs. We gotta stop.
So let me ask you a question. Based on because I hear you saying you reached out, everybody knew, you did the flyers. Do you do it
as much as we can? As much as we can.
Do you do that every time?
Yes.
Every time there. So here's what I have to say to you.
Because then they call me the mayor. They call me the mayor because I'm always touching, I'm always going, I'm always sharing, I'm always everywhere. But people pick and choose what they want to attach themselves to, and then they complain when they're not getting the progress that they want, but at the same time, they're part of the problem.
So I do marketing for our schools and organizations and things like that. If you know that method gives you the same result, you have to stop using that method. And you have to choose a different way of reaching your audience. and try to figure out what behavior can get them to attend. So you just said it was about, you said if they go to was it a football game or basketball game or something like that?
No. What I said was
Football season.
what I said was the certain classes or programs, the seats are not filled. Like we did a chess tournament for children at the library, right? There were probably 5 or 6 children, but I'll say 10. 5 of those children was one family. Chess tournament, teaching kids chess, trying to give different things for children to do. But what I'm saying is, you got a sport like football that's popular. These teams are filled, right? These teams are filled. It's like something you're supposed to do. It's like, okay, football season come. Yeah, I want to play football. Okay, cool. But that's like my daughter. She's at sleepaway camp right now. She didn't want to go. She wanted to just stay in the house. She may want to just be on her tablet or whatever. Moms was like, nope, pack your bag. Let's go. You're going to go. They're having different programs. They're having different speakers. Sometimes you have to 10 toes down the same way that you do in all of those other places. You have to be 10 toes down in the school system as well. You have to stand 10 toes down at the PTA meetings or the school board meetings or whatever. We can't keep blaming the program people or the this or the that when we're not holding feet to the fire and we're not doing what we're supposed to do as a community.
Tasha, let me ask you this.
Yep.
If we haven't, because you from Patterson too, Tasha. So if we're having such well, I'm just saying, if Pattersonians are having such an issue with getting parents to come out and go to the school board meetings, and we're having trouble getting parents to get their kids to certain programs, and to how do we get our parents out there so we can eventually get certain things put back into our schools?
2 words: ask them. You could do a survey. It could be a phone survey. It could be something on social media where you're just asking. It could be multiple choice. Ask them. What we do at schools and whatnot to get parents to attend is just think about it, because you're a parent, right? You get off of work, probably 4 or 5. The event's at 6 o'clock at night. So what is going to get a parent there who's tired throughout the day, and you want them to come? All they want to do is go home. They got to make dinner, help with homework, get them washed and in the bed. So what we would do is we fed them. That way you didn't have to make dinner that night. So, and that was a way where we filled up. We put it on the we sent flyers, like there's something that teachers use called Class Dojo. We would send information through that platform. There's text. Like a lot of schools, they might invest in and make it in, I forgot what it's called, robocall or something like that. Robocall. You could text them, because everybody, mostly from what I know, they have a phone. So you could text them, you could email them. You could, there's a lot of digital ways to get your messaging out. You could start a subscription on like a website or social media. That way if you could get at least like 500 to 1,000 names, and then that's a good way. And then you don't have to send those flyers out anymore, because you already have their emails, phone numbers, and you could just send it out digitally. It saves time. And you just have to think differently and think about their behaviors and feed them. Most people come because, I don't got to buy food that night. I don't have to cook and whatnot. You could also say, we have homework help that day. There'll be people here to help your child with homework. We're going to feed you, and here is the information or chess club or what have you for you to also be a part of. And we seem to be successful that way.
Kyra, could you read the last thing that Miss Darlene had said?
She just posted.
She took it off. Oh. Can you read that? That's what I was speaking about football and basketball. It's familiarity.
after or before the basketball game.
I'm
So
sorry.
that's another thing we would do is we would connect activities so that way, if they're already there, they're not gonna, they don't need to leave. If they're waiting for something or it's after something else, we would connect them so that we would have that audience.
A lot of them parents don't even stay there. They drop them kids off and they out.
Then you make
But-
it mandatory. Your child can't stay if you don't stay.
Right.
But
Or you have
Ms.
them, or you have the
says,
parent
due
when the parent
to
comes in to
apathy
sign
and
in.
negligence, parents have no confidence in Patterson Public Schools.
I was about to say that. That was one of the main.
no,
things.
the one prior to that
But
about
a
familiarity.
desire, creating a desire.
Oh, she says sometimes if something is not familiar, people tend not to be interested. Sometimes you have to create the desire, just like designers do.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. It's
That
not
because-
familiar to them.
Yeah. That I agree with that because now
Yeah.
the it's not called parent engagement anymore or family. It's called parental design is the new term that that's being used lately because it is a design. It is a architecture, pretty much. You are the architect of trying to attract families, and by design, looking at their behaviors and what have you. What will get them interested in the room and to trust? So you have to educate them. This is the things that it could do for you. And it might be you have your small wins and you got your big ones. So you just have to kind of ask yourselves, what's my small win on this? And then be happy with that.
Also, and that goes back to the statement I said earlier, understanding your community and understanding what they have already going on. A lot of times you don't know we make a lot of assumptions because we just want to say, oh, we see 50 kids outside or you see 100 kids outside, that the parents are inside or the parents are doing something, when most times those 100 kids are outside because that's where the parents keep them at while they're off at work or while they're off doing other things. We have to know the community and know what issues that the community have, and then we can offer solutions to the community based off of what they need. It's just like every Thanksgiving, you got 15 different groups handing out turkeys, but not one group is out trying to get people help to pay their PSE&G bill. But you're giving out frozen turkeys, but they lights are cut off. We don't learn our community and see what the community needs, and then bring resources into the community of things that they need.
I think the second thing you said is paramount. But go ahead.
You can't say, all right, we're gonna start a chess tournament when parents are like, okay, I can barely get my kids to the things that they're already in. And now you want to start up something else because you think it's a good idea, but did you come test the community and see if that's something that do they even have the mental capacity to take on another thing for their kid to be at, or something else that they have to say, all right, I'm going to dedicate this time that I already don't have to get him to that. We have to understand our community and understand what our community needs, and then start the program around their needs. If you have a program and you say, okay, I want to do chess, but then you don't offer transportation, you don't offer food, you don't offer none of this stuff, but then you want the parents to get them come and be a part of it, and then we get mad when they don't show up because you're offering something that they don't need. They need someplace for their child to go that's safe. They need someplace. They need for their child to be able to get there, and they need for their child to be able to get home. That's why I have a lot of respect for the Great Falls Youth Center, because whatever programs they do, they pick those kids up, they drop those kids off back home.
Yep.
They feed those kids. So there's no reason for a parent to say they can't go to it because they are handling all the pieces that's needed for them to be there. But then we have these other organizations who refuse to touch those other pieces, but then want to sit there and throw their hands up like, well, I offered it, nobody wanted to show up.
I agree. I agree, and I like that. I like that. But at the same time, I can understand that you have to do the work too. You have to put forth effort.
But
You have
everybody
to.
but the effort is
I
my effort.
Eric, I agree. I already said I agree, and I submit. But at the same time, everybody has to be held accountable.
Right,
if I know that,
what's the effort? What's the effort?
Hold
My
up.
effort
I'm
is going
from
to work every day.
Derek, I'm from the community, B. I'm from the community. I'm talking about my community, right?
No,
I know
you're from the community, but you're not. Rashawn, you are a six-figure high value man. You remember? You don't have the same issues. You're not sitting here. You can't speak on issues. You can't speak on issues that don't affect you.
speak on issues. I bought my house 6 years ago. What are you talking about? I've been
Rashawn, is
silent
your
for
lights
50
off?
years.
Rashawn, if your lights go off, can you pay your lights to turn back on?
Yeah, but I also know, and I also share and help in creating programs with PSE&G that help people who can't do it.
Well,
So
what
me being,
program?
hold up, wait,
Where
let me
those
finish.
programs at?
Let me finish. Me being from that community is what drives me to create the things that I help create now because I know hold up.
I
I
didn't
know
say
what's
anything.
needed. You was about to. I know what's needed because I'm from that cloth. So I
Rashawn,
know
but where
what's
is the
needed.
program?
I'm still there. I'm
Where's the
still in that
program? But
community.
where is the program? You're talking about programs that you create, but where are they? Let me tell you something.
They're there.
But that's what I'm saying. Listen, Newark Public Schools, right? They have the same vision program that Patterson Public Schools has, right? Newark Public Schools rolled that program out citywide. It wasn't a fly that went out to certain schools and you had to do paperwork and the rest of stuff. No, every kid in Newark went to they had the eyes people come out, give them eye exams, right? They came, they sent letters home. Your child needs glasses. You know what happened in 2 weeks? They came back with the glasses and gave the glasses to the kids. The same program
And that's wonderful. You're talking
no,
about you
hold
told
on,
me about.
let me finish. The
Okay.
same program that Patterson has. But does it have how it's being implemented or how it's being rolled out is two totally different ways. So we talk about how programs, we're not going outside of communities and seeing programs that are being successful and duplicating those programs.
No.
I'm
People
I'm
say
I'm
to me,
I'm I'm over here in Oregon. I just walked down the street and saw 15 people on bikes with brooms and brushes, sweeping with garbage cans on the back of their bikes. You can't tell me that program will not be a program that will work in Patterson, but for whatever reason, it's not even being duplicated. Why? Because the people who have the power to do these things don't want to. Because as long as you keep these people, you keep your foot on these people's necks, they will never thrive. And because they'll never thrive, they'll stay disconnected. They'll stay doing everything else they got to do to survive. And the things that we need them to do, they'll never do it. You can't go to a parent and say, I need you to be at a PTO meeting or I need you to be at a school board meeting when they're working 3 jobs.
but everybody ain't working 3 jobs. You can't use
But the
that.
people who are,
What about the
are
people that ain't?
need.
What about the people that ain't? What about the people that stand online and buy $500 sneakers, but the curriculum is terrible? We keep using Newark versus Patterson.
I'm using a
Wait,
program that
let
works
me
against
say
the
it.
program that's not.
Newark's budget and their tax levy are crush Patterson's. Easy. It's 2 different pockets. It's 2 totally different pockets. But what I'm explaining is we show up for what we want to show up to. I see people online at Foot Locker when there's a new Jordan dropping, but you can't go to the school board meeting. There's people that spend the night. They spend the night downtown on the sidewalk.
Because that's what the value is. Because that's what the value is.
That's my point. We can't just say we're going to hold the district and the teachers accountable. We got to hold these parents accountable as well because some of them is on some nonsense. Probably me at the time as well.
I think that parents do need to be held accountable, but you also, just like with anything else, you are going to have some people that are going to be interested in it, and you're going to have those people that are not going to be interested in it. But the people that are interested in it, it ain't that I'm not interested in it. It's just that I can't make it. And that's what Derek, I think, is trying to say. You have a lot of parents out here that would love to come to some of the things that are going on. But the times that these programs are going on, parents are at work.
But then there's times when they are not. We can't use that for everybody and everything.
Everybody gets a day off. Everybody gets a day off. Everybody gets a day off. Okay? So even though I get a day off, are you doing something on my day off?
Could be.
No,
I don't
we're not.
know. But what I'm saying is you can't use that for everybody. The
No,
same
we're
the
not
same
using
day that
what
there's
we're
people
not.
working,
It's not
there's
that
people
it's
that's not.
used for everybody. What he's basically saying is that people who would love to be a part of these programs, that would
Okay.
love to be able to get there and take their kids there, are having difficulties because they have to work. And most of the time, those parents have 1 to 2 jobs. Unless you have someone that is helping you with your children and to help you get these kids from point A to point B, that's something totally different. But if you don't
Now,
have that
I
type
want
of
to ask a
structure in your
question.
home, that's
I want to
something
ask a question. I want to ask a question. What about the ones that don't have 1, 2 to 3 jobs, or even 1 job? What about the ones that have time but they're not? They're not. Hold on, let me ask the question. Let me ask the question so you can answer it correctly.
That's not what I said. What
No,
I
I'm
said
asking
was
a question.
the people that are interested.
I know. I'm asking a question. Let me answer my question.
Okay.
That's what I want you to do. Answer my question.
Okay.
What about the ones that have time? They're not even thinking or want to do those things because it's not piquing their interest. What about the ones that don't work 2 and 3 jobs and they have time, but they're just choosing not to do it? Maybe they have something to do, but they're not calling on the village to say, hey, Pop, can you drop the baby off? Can you drop the kid off here? This, that, and the third. They're just choosing not to do it because they just don't want to. What about those people?
Is there that much trust in the community? Do the people in your community trust each other? It's for me to call somebody in this community and say, "Come pick my kid up."
I said Pop, Grandpa, the same Grandpa that you say. Hold on, wait.
Everybody don't have a Pop. Everybody don't
have.
Talking
about the ones that do.
Or auntie.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm talking about the ones that do. You keep telling me about. You keep taking me away from my question. Answer my question. The same way that we say, hey, we're going to the Elks tonight. Can you watch Lil Ray Ray? Yeah, we'll watch him. That person, that same person that has a village, but they don't use the village for the betterment of the children. They use it for their leisure and their guilty pleasures.
But we're not programming for those parents. Now, here's the piece. Here's the piece.
I'm asking that question. What about those parents?
I'm trying to answer that question for you though, because if you have 50 parents who want oranges, right? You got 50 parents who want oranges, right? And then you're asking me a question about 100 parents who want apples. They're not.
No, I'm asking. Should those parents be held accountable? Simple.
Everybody has to be held.
I'm not talking about everybody. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about the parents that have the ability. They have the ability. They have the time, but they just are not choosing to do it. They have time to go to the school board meetings and the PTO meetings. They're just not doing it. They may be at happy hour. You don't have to go to happy hour.
The same parents that you're speaking about, those same parents that you're speaking
even if it's 2, I don't care. I'm talking about those parents.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene.
You keep telling me about other things and other people. I'm holding accountability.
Well, Sean, the
parents that you're talking about, that you keep talking about, can we force them to be interested in the things that you're interested in? No, we cannot. Can we do what you want us to do? Get a club and bang them on top of their head and
no. I'm asking a question. I'm not asking any of that. 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 We're saying the mayor has to do better. The congressman is you say hold on, wait. Congressmen are scandalous. Programs need to do better. All of these people need to do better. We talk about the parents that need to do better. Hold on, wait. We talk about parents need to do better, and we get all of these excuses. No, they need to do better. Parents need to do better. It starts at home.
No,
So I would say this to try to answer your question.
Thank you. Somebody answer it, because these two up here, they is not answering.
I'm listening to
So
Mr.
I would say, okay,
Exactly.
repeat the question, because now I've lost. Repeat it.
I'm sorry,
We know
Tasha, you
about
don't
because they know. That's what I'm saying. Like we speak about accountability, right? We speak about accountability. I even brought my household into it, to whereas my child may have not even wanted to go to the sleepaway camp. But her mom was like, no, you're going to these seminars. If it doesn't pique our interest, little Ray want to play football. I want to play football. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. This, that, and the third. And then we oblige that behavior. And then we wonder why these kids are entitled. They're spoiled. And they get into what they get into, instead of us being parents and doing what we're supposed to do, with creating avenues for them to build on themselves. More thinking, more this, more that. They may not like it, but they may like it when they go. But us as parents, if we say, hey, well, we're going to go to this place, and they're going to be speaking about mechanics, or they're going to be, even if it's chess, I don't care what it is. If we step up as parents and say, no, we going. The same way as, oh, we got to go to the store. I don't want to go to the store. Get your coat and let's go. We see it all the time. If we say this is a program that's in play, and we're going to go and we're going to listen to this, and we're going to go here, we're going to do this, we're going to, whatever the case may be. We have to start stepping up and standing 10 toes down the same way that we do with all of these other things. I took somebody to the prom, and I'm not speaking on that person, but looking at all of these prom things, it looked like the Grammys. It looks like the Grammys. I'm riding by, I'm seeing the Grammys, and I'm like, if we put more time into other things the same as we put into nonsense, we may get a better outcome. But we can't keep making excuses about, and that's why I said I'm talking about the people that we know that can do better.
But you do know why the proms look like the Grammys, right?
I know you're gonna tell me.
Okay. So when people are underserved or in poverty, there isn't a lot to look forward to. So graduations are really important to us in urban areas, or however you want to characterize it, because that might be the only graduation that child might have or we may attend.
Why?
The other thing is, for a prom is really important in our types of community, because that might be the only time that young lady or young man, or the pronouns and so forth, have that time to dress up, to put on makeup, to dress up, to be a center of attention, to be able to be in a place where they can dance, be with their friends and whatnot. It is.
You believe that? You believe that? To be honest, you believe that?
Psychology says that it is real. Like you were saying earlier.
Statistics say it too.
What statistics you talking about, Derek? What statistics?
Or the money that they might spend. A person might spend, they might have only $200 for the month, let's say. And they should pay their bills, buy food. Instead, they buy this 50-inch TV. They buy it because that is the only thing that is going to give them some type of entertainment to get through their day, their week, their month, their year. And it's worth it for them. That's why it irritates me when some people will say, like those Christmas, giveaways or whatever. And a person they'll ask a parent, what do you want? I want a 50-inch TV. And then the person they're like, you don't want clothes, you don't want this, you don't want a coat. And then it's kind of like, you shouldn't even want this because you need this. And it's like, no, psychologically, they do need that TV, and they need that prom. They need what we find frivolous and silly, like someone said, you guys are 6 people. We take that stuff for advantage, you know, and you know, we don't really realize how important it is for somebody else who doesn't.
That's
and there's
tough.
just these little, they can't go to the Dominican Republic or Cuba or Puerto Rico every year and have vacations or go to Disney World. Their Disney World is that TV.
Or what about buying books and making your child, let me ask you, and making you as a parent, making sure that your child read
I'm a different type of parent.
I'm sorry?
And plus, I'm a different type of parent. Like some people have trauma about school. School wasn't something that was good for them. And so when they hear about the mechanic workshop or something like that, something awful could have happened to them when they attended a workshop when they were a child.
That's very rare, but I get it. It's very rare, but I get it.
It's not rare. No, it's not. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I'm doing, matter of fact, I'm doing it this year too. Last year I did a literacy camp, right? I had 70 kids a part of this camp. 52 of those kids suffered from a school-related trauma, which were related to why they didn't like reading books.
And what was the trauma? Oh, well, I know you can't tell the kid, but what was the traumas?
Most of the traumas was because the majority of them go around was built around the fact of them there was some kind of public display, which then they were made fun of about, or the fact that they were not able to, they were not
That's
on
the
level.
Same thing one of the
because they were not on level, people made fun of them. So that took it away. Another big piece was the miseducation of parents who use education as a punishment. You don't want you bored and you don't got nothing to do, go read a book.
Yep, that's true.
You not listening, go read a book. Go read me a book.
Weaponize it. Yeah.
You weaponize education, and now it's a punishment, and now I don't want to do it. So now why am I going to do something that you use to punish me with? Why am I going to do it for leisure?
Okay, so let me ask you this. What about the households that use that as a healthy scenario? Because let's say I'm explaining to you.
Yeah,
that's like
give me an example of where I was healthy.
You finished?
Yeah, I'm saying give me an example because you're talking, but you're not giving me an example.
Because every time I say something, you like. But let's just dial it back. Me being in the department, right? I deal with a lot of different people from a lot of different other towns and communities. They normalized a certain thing. They normalize certain things where a lot of things that they see that we do, they're like, oh, what's that? I ain't never seen that before. So we may normalize a certain thing. We may normalize certain behaviors. We may coddle certain behaviors, and it starts from young. You got some people that may, start reading from a young age to whereas once they get older, it's normal. It's not a punishment. This is normal. Reading is not punishment. It helps with your grammar. It helps with a lot of different things in life, but we don't value that a lot of times. So I can see that if later on in life, right, the kid is 12 now or 10, and they say, oh, well, get out of my face, go read a book. But if you've always read books all your life, it's not a punishment to you. And I'm not going to victimize it. It's just normal. It's just regular. We normalize a certain type of behavior, and then we stigmatize that behaviors or we complain about it. When we normalize it, some people look at our community and be like, what the hell is that? Yeah. That's like a sidebar. Like there were cards that came out that said, Happy Father's Day, Mom. Right? There were people when we were talking about it in the firehouse, there were other people from other communities like, what the hell is that? What are you talking about? Like we normalize a certain patterns and certain behaviors, and then we do this when you're supposed to been reading books. Like you're supposed to be teaching your kids survival skills. You're supposed to be teaching them how to change tires. You're supposed to be teaching them all of these things.
If no one taught them, then they can't teach their child. And so these things become generational.
Of course, we got huge generational curses that we need to break. But we have to stop giving excuses for not breaking them.
But it's not an excuse.
Breaking them.
A statistic is not a excuse. You are a numbers man. You are literally a numbers man. You give us data.
But I do a reality as well, Derek.
You give so much data. So you can't say data is an excuse when data is data. And if you have a mother who has a trauma of something, that trauma, there was a study done on mice, right? There was a study done on mice. It was a certain scent that they put. It was a controlled environment. They put the scent in with the mice, right? The mice knew the scent. They always came to the scent. One day they put the scent, but then they put the scent in the space with a poison. The mice went to the scent. They smelled the scent. They ate the stuff. They died. Right. Years later, offspring from those mice, still to that time when they did the study, would not go to that scent because of the trauma that it came from parents that they don't even that it was exposed to the scent. So trauma affects people far after the trauma has been done. It's not an excuse, it's what really has happened. So
no, I'm asking, how do we break it?
We have to think that's the whole idea. We have to educate.
And hold the parents accountable that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's all I've been saying this whole time.
Let me ask you this, because I know
y'all act like there's no parents. Let me say this, you can have it, cousin. Let me say this, you can have it.
Let me just ask this real quick.
Okay.
Let me just ask this real quick. The parents that you keep saying we have to hold them accountable, how do you want us to hold them accountable?
I don't know. We ain't even addressing the fact that there are parents that need to be held accountable.
What actions should we take?
No. I know there are. I grew up in the projects. But what I'm saying is we couldn't even come to the understanding that there actually are parents that needs to be held accountable.
That's not true.
Every time I say
something, but there's some, but then there's others who, for mental health reasons and what.
You see what I'm saying? It's always
it's mental health, it's socioeconomic, economic statuses and whatnot. That whole
it's a lot, but there's some that need to be held accountable.
But that's not up to us.
You see, but it's always but.
It could be, however. It's not.
It could be, and I'm gonna be repeating. However, all I'm saying is the same way that we need to hold our elected officials accountable. We need to hold our teachers accountable. We need to hold the districts accountable. We need to hold the teachers, and we need to hold the parents accountable. Everybody plays a part in this.
I agree.
Everybody plays a part.
Whether
you got to ride or not.
And I do not think that anybody disagreed. Wait a minute, Sean. I don't think that anybody disagreed with you about holding people accountable. Nobody disagreed on that part. Nobody disagreed with that.
No, you just gave me excuses.
Nobody made excuses for nothing. It's just that sometimes you have to focus on the people that are willing, because everybody's not a leader. Most people are followers. So you focus on the people that actually are interested in it and that actually can make a difference, because once you get those people started and they get into the groove of it and they standing on business with it, then guess what? Other people are going to follow them and do the same. But who are you going to focus more on? Are you focusing more on the people that's interested in it and need just a little bit of help for whatever? They need transportation for this or whatever the situation. It's not an excuse. It's just this is what I need help. Wait, this is what I need help with. Are you going to continuously just keep focused on the people that don't want to do shit?
Cousin, I agree. That's why I do the work that I do. If I didn't care,
the people that don't really want to do anything, they're going to eventually follow the people that do. But those are people that need the help.
I agree. That's why I continue to do the work. That's why I continue to do the work. If I didn't have any faith, I would say, I'm tired of this. I'm tired. If they don't want it for themselves, that's the whole, if you ain't gonna fight for yourself, then I ain't gonna fight for you. No, I'm not. I don't take that stance. I'm gonna continue to go, because if I can help one person, I did my job. We're gonna help 2, then we're gonna help 3, we're gonna help 4. But at the same time, that person that's at that club and that happy hour, when they go online and they say, oh, the school system needs to do better, I'm gonna say, no, you should have had your ass at the PTO meeting instead of TGI Fridays.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. Finally, we got you to agree.
No, I agree with that from the jump. But my point.
But I got all of the fluff in between. That's the only thing I've been saying.
No, but the point I've been trying to get you to understand, the point, like what you just said. You said if you can help one person, if you can help 2 people, what about those 10 kids who haven't seen anything done yet?
No, they did other things. They did other things.
There hasn't been what photography? There was no photography program.
No, I said there's things that we do all through the city that those same kids are attached to.
What things are they? Because there's no photography program. There was the mechanical program when there was one time. When y'all did it, didn't stop. There was no photography program. It was the entrepreneur thing we did with Malachi's Mission, right? But what about the other kids? Malachi's Mission got the focus, they got the supplies, they got everything, and that was a blessing. But what about the other kids? What about those other kids? What happened with that? What happened with those things? We're talking about a lot of stuff that go on in the city. There has to be continuity. If we're going to make a change, there has to be continuity. Parents have to see.
But that's what I'm saying. It is just because you don't know.
Hold on. Parents have to see that there's continuity. If you want a parent to change their schedule and make things happen and reach out to their circle and say, hey, Lamont want to do this, and I really see, and it's really worth it. I'm going to make this thing happen, because there are parents who will move the world, who will move heavens and earth to do for their kids. There are those parents, but when the organizations are showing continuity, because they want a finished product, they want to see 100 kids show up, and they're not happy with 10.
Is Malachi Mission on a website, or is this a grassroots?
He actually got a youth day. He actually got a youth day coming up that I got to deliver toys to. Now, it's pushed all over the place. The flyers all over the place. Watch how many kids show up. That's what I'm saying. It's things that happen all the time.
You need to change your method.
This is what it is, cousin. This is what it is. This is the village. This is the village. You'll have an organization that may do something one week, and that's supported. You'll have another organization that do something another week, and that's supported. See, what Derek is focusing on one person. What I'm saying is, no, there's other things that's being done that's being supported by the village. So you'll have something that's done over there. There's something that's done over there.
Derek is talking about continuity within a program. If you're offered a program, you have to have continuity. That means when City Without, what's it called? City Without Doctors Without Walls, that organization, when they came, the guy came to me and asked me to donate to that organization. You know what he asked me? He said, listen, I know you're donating the money today, but I need you not to cancel it after you make this one donation. I need you to stay on at least for 2 years or 3 years, and so you can so we can have the finances to back up the work that we're doing.
I agree.
You have to be able to show continuity for people to take you seriously. You can't show up and say, hey, I'm gonna put together a mechanics shop. And then
but that's one umbrella, Derek.
Let me finish.
On that.
Let me finish.
It seems like kind of like trying to attack the guy.
No, I'm not. I'm using that as the example. I cannot say I'm going to start I'm going to start a home economics club. Okay, I can't say I'm going to start a home economics club. 10 kids show up to that home economics club, and I do it. I do 2 or 3 times with them, and those 10 kids show up. I expected 50 to 100 to show up, so I stopped doing it.
But that's not the case. That's what I keep
Hold
explaining to
on,
you.
no. You just told me you feel like I'm shooting at one person. I'm not. I'm making a
Why?
situation up.
You don't
So then you
poke
can't
like 50
talk about
times
a
already.
situation that I'm making
Hello,
up.
hello. Let's bring it up.
No,
Okay?
it's true. I'm saying, like, if you say, like, let's say me, if you say Sean 50 times in a conversation, I'm gonna start saying, like, hey, why you keep saying my name? Why you keep bringing up me when I already explained that there's an umbrella there. There's an umbrella there of different aspects, and what that umbrella does, that organization may do something one week. That organization may do something the next week. That like tomorrow, right? Corey Fleming is having a reopening of the Totowa Branch library. I'll be there at 10 in the morning. I'll be there. He's under that umbrella. So we support each other. Just the same as when Corey wanted to do the chess tournament.
But what umbrella are you talking about? What's the Phantom umbrella?
I just want to say this because we have gone way over our hour, and we got to wrap this puppy up. So I'm going to say this much: the resources that everyone up here is talking about, I get it. I know of some of them, but not all of them. And I can recall not even a week ago, I put a post up and I asked, are there any resources for a young Black boy that I could, tap into? Because somebody was looking for something for their child, and I didn't get not a response. Nobody said a word. I had to call up a person that I knew from a whole nother different organization, from a whole nother different town, who gave me a whole bunch of stuff. It wasn't in Patterson. It was, of course, in Newark. But at least I was able to give that parent some resources to get her child into something. So even if the resources are out there, there are a lot of people who don't know about these resources. There are a lot of people who don't know about these programs. Because if I would have known about the programs, I could have said, yo, here goes some stuff for your kid to do. Here's some stuff that some positive Black men can help your child, because she is a single mother and the father is not here. He's deceased. So she's a single mother raising a single Black son on her own. So
and that's not to say that everybody saw your post neither.
I'm not saying it did, but I got nothing. I have over 1,000. I have mad friends on my page, and out of all those
algorithms work differently.
But yet 30 minutes later, I post something about what do you call a man that jumps from woman to woman, and I get like 40 comments.
I do the same thing. Not everybody's on Facebook at the same time.
It is just what people want to respond to.
Well, so I thought you said you didn't have excuses, but you make excuses.
But it's cool. But
I agree. I said I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But what I am saying is the same way you could tell me that nobody saw my post is the same way I'm going to tell you that even though you putting this stuff out there on social media, that doesn't mean everybody is seeing it.
And I agree.
And that's why everybody doesn't know about it. But what I am saying is we have to start using different sources outside of social media to get these resources out to people, because everybody doesn't see everybody's post. The algorithm is something different when it comes to these social media platforms. So it has to be something different. And that's just it. Could I have picked up the phone and called you, Sean, and said, Sean, yo, you know some way I could take this? I could have did that. But
exactly, that's what I was gonna say. You didn't use all your resources because you didn't call me.
I did use my resources. That was the first person at that time that popped in my head.
You call me the mayor, let me be the mayor. You call me the mayor, let me be the mayor.
Why don't you really be the mayor?
So
you should really be the mayor.
Absolutely not, because I already know. As soon as I put the thought down, my community gonna be ain't shit.
But this is my thing. I shouldn't have to call nobody because
why not?
Because these things should be available and people should know about them outside of social media. Everybody should know about it. If I don't know about it, how many other people don't know about it?
I agree. I totally agree.
And look who
Carla?
my cousin is. My cousin is the mayor.
I
That's
agree.
what I'm saying.
Carla said, in Patterson is a lot of people that don't know. It's inconsistent, it's clicky, and other stuff. And
I
that's the point I
absolutely
was
agree
trying to
with
make.
that.
I know,
Talk. You have
when I read that, I said Derek gonna read that because she agreeing with him.
no. I'm going to read it because it's the fact of what it is. You
The
keep talking
first thing
about
you
this
read.
phantom. You keep talking about this phantom umbrella of people that make programs, but you can't. But it's a clique. It's a clique of people that support, because then it could be another person that's coming out to do something, and you won't see none of y'all.
Yeah.
As far as what?
So I said it's a clique. It's
No,
a
it's
clique
not.
of people.
I don't have
It
no
is a
clique.
clique of people.
I don't have
I'm
no
not
clique.
trying to turn it, but this is, I'm not trying to turn it into
That's
anything.
definitely not
But
true.
just like Miss
It's
Darlene,
cliquey.
Miss Darlene says my
Okay.
kids' school offers STEAM and my kids went, but they would have never done that if my school didn't offer it. You know, when my kids was going to school, this is how I ended up knowing Miss Darlene, because I ended up having a problem in one of these schools, and before I went to jail behind it, Miss Darlene stepped in and helped me. And from that point on, anytime there was anything going on in the school system that offered something for one of my kids, Darlene would call me on the phone and say, did you know about this? Here's the stuff for you to sign your kid up for, blah, 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 blah. Because we didn't know about it. And my child was going to the school.
I get it. No, I agree.
Miss Darlene was literally a blessing to the kingdom. Miss Darlene made sure she was one of the advocates. She was one of those advocates for parents that should make sure that all parents knew what was going on. All parents knew what they were supposed to get. All parents, and she fought for parents, and that was one of the reasons why they gave Miss Darlene such a hard time and practically ran her out of the district. Because
that's probably part of your problem. You need more Miss Darlene.
I get Miss Darlene's
You
number.
need more Miss Darlene instead of people running their mouths and not doing shit.
Right, but then if you see Miss Darlene is the example, and I'm looking at what Miss Darlene's doing, but I see how people are treating Miss Darlene, and I see how Miss Darlene's job is being threatened. Is that gonna make me jump in the fire with Miss Darlene, or that's gonna tell me, you know what?
Together. Y'all have to pull together. The Bronze Heat, the Bronze Heat wasn't always what the Bronze Heat is in the department, because the Bronze Heat fought for inequality. And in the beginning, what I was told, that they were targeted. They were targeted. They were some of the worst things that you can hear is what some of them told me. But eventually, through the fight and standing 10 toes down and doing community service and doing all of these things, we changed the narrative to whereas the respect for the Bronze Heat in the department is something totally different now.
Right, but there was more members of Bronze Heat than it was Miss Darlene.
So
no, that's why I said people like you who see Miss Darlene, you got to get behind her and build onto that and create that energy to whereas you ain't afraid. You ain't Bronze Heat members walk through, we're not afraid. We know the language, we know the laws. You ain't just gonna come and target me and take my job. We're gonna have this fight. Is there Bronze Heat members that did lose their? Yes, there's some that lost their job because of, and they got their money back eventually. But when you're fearless, when you handle your business and stand 10 toes down, you don't follow that agenda over there or afraid.
Fearless. You cannot be fearless when you are one bad decision from being homeless.
Okay, hold up. Tasha, what's your question?
So if there was like a family magazine and you had access to either online, or you could email the person or text them to put the events down, and then they put it out monthly, would you participate in such a thing?
Patterson have that already.
Patterson has it. Nobody uses it.
What is it called?
It's called the community. Patterson Community Calendar.
Yeah, I have it already.
Okay, why don't you use it?
Nobody uses it. People use it, but people don't feel that people are lazy.
There's a couple of them.
People are lazy.
You say a couple of them, what's in them?
It's not even a magazine. It's just a printout. It's a data.
So I'm talking about a magazine. What if it was a magazine just for Patterson community, and it had all the schools with the principals' names, numbers, how to contact them, your congressman, all the information you ever needed.
When we did 1,000-man march, one of my initiatives for men, not the one for women, the one for men, I tried to start an initiative to where, as I said, I want all your plumbers, I want all your lawyers, I want all your doctors, I want all your teachers, I want all your principals, I want all your this, your that, your this, that. Send me that information, and I'm gonna create a book. So these kids, whenever they need resources, whatever it is, you can find a Black doctor, you can find a Black lawyer, you can find a Black mechanic, you can find a Black chiropractor, you can find a Black teacher for whatever that you need, and it's totally anonymous, to whereas it's that HIPAA law, to whereas they're not telling your business. I put it out there, some people liked it, shared it, talked about it, this, that, and the third. Nobody sent me nothing.
Right. There's no follow through.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay, so what you're saying is
we like to talk.
So if there was like a family, let's say, magazine out, then, and let's say I wanted to put one out, that means that community would not assist me. So it's up to me to find the information and then provide it to the community. So let's say I did it.
That's the best of your ability.
I found all of that information. And it was free. It was free, but it was digital. Would people utilize it? It's there. It's free. If you want to print it out, go ahead. And it would also have articles about the side hustle spotlight, or about financial literacy, about entrepreneurship.
I hear you. And taking on that thought process, I totally get it. But that's a lot of work. And you need a team, or you need community. And the problem is, and I agree with Derek to a degree, with that some people are cliquey. I agree, because you got some people that ain't gonna mess with some people because of something. Or I don't like that person because of this. Or I don't mess with him because of that. I don't mess with her because of that. So that breaks up community itself.
So what if, let's say, I purchased a list. I purchased a list from the Postal Service, and I provided them with a certain demographic. Let's say people who identify themselves as Black, not Hispanic, Black, Hispanic, whatever. It was just for people of color, Black, or anyone, or mixed race, what have you. I got that list, and then I emailed that digital copy to everyone on that list. Would they open it? What would be that headline to get them to open it?
Free.
Just free? Free, gratis. Okay.
You want them to touch something, you tell them you're giving it away to them for free. And you're gonna get a multitude of people that's gonna show up. They don't care what it is. You offer some food with it. Like you say, okay, I just made.
So let's say I started a partnership with, I don't know. I'm gonna say, is Blimpie still over there? Because we don't have that over here. Blimpie's not here no more.
Blimpie's around.
Okay. So let's say I did something with Blimpies, and I said, okay, I want you to, you could do an ad in this magazine, and for it's a Blimpie coupon, buy one get one free, 20% off. Would they use it?
I would.
The resourceful people would.
Because listen, I eat my some of
this
my
what you will this what you will find. This what you will find. You will find the container that you put all the magazines in you'll find all the magazines spread out over the street and with all the coupons ripped out.
But I'm not printing it. It's only digital. That's it. It's only digital. You could subscribe to it. It would be a website. You could subscribe to it to get it if you're not on that list I purchased, or it's already in your mailbox every month. The first of every month, the Patterson Family Magazine is in your mailbox, and in it is ads about different companies, schools, and whatnot, because that is the way I would fund it.
I'll tell you my experience in 10 seconds. You're gonna get some people that will subscribe, but the majority is not, because it's not.
That's fine. No. So let's say I just email it to them. They open it.
That's my point. Definitely ain't gonna be no email.
Why can't it be an email?
No, meaning You have
No,
some
you
people
can get
that,
you'll get the email. People
you'll
people
get it.
open the email.
What I'm saying is, you got some people that rather just go on TikTok than check their email.
So let's say I have a TikTok ad,
Do that.
or
Right?
but so, and let's say I even have a survey in there.
Carlos, he said the mailbox thing might work.
What mailbox thing? The
Like if you
emails
just
or
put it in
the,
if you put it in their inbox.
In the mail, sending it in the mailbox, putting it in their mailboxes.
so they want it in print.
They may not ever open it up. Here's the thing.
Ain't nobody gonna open that up.
They're not going to open it up until it falls into something they need. Until it comes.
So what do they need?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. We won't know until this falls into something they need. So
let's say the magazine had a cover of Rashawn. You know, Rashawn. It was a cover of him, and it was called "The Mayor of Paterson." And he's the feature, and then there's something in the corner about community resources and activities about in Paterson. Then there's everything you need to know about your public school or charter school. I don't know, different, let's say if it came out in the summer, different camps, playgrounds, and programs. Would they open it?
Not until they need it.
Free,
not until they need it.
Stuff.
And if it's something they need,
not until they need something out of it. The school did something. The school did something to little Leroy, and now they need to get in touch with they talk to the principal. The principal is not doing anything. They need to get in touch with the superintendent.
There was
They'll go look at it.
Stuff in there as well.
Not until they need it. Paterson is a at need type of community.
So
I don't need it.
Find out what they need.
Right. That's why I say you have to learn the community.
It ain't got nothing to do with me.
You got to learn the community. You have to learn the community, and once you learn the community, you have to build your programming around what that community needs. Because as long as you offering them stuff that you think is a good idea,
what they need is information, and that's what's in this magazine is information.
You need to know what information that they need, because until they need it, they're not going to even think about it.
So information about how to save on your bill, or information on the employment. The Paterson Employment Office is giving out 40 Lyft rides for your new job. Contact here.
And somebody who needs a Lyft drive to their job, that's the ones who want to use it. But it won't go out to a multitude. It'll go out to that niche of people like, oh, you heard Paterson
it goes out to every single
I'm telling
person,
you who's opening
in Paterson.
No, I'm saying whoever opens the people it's going to go to everybody.
But wouldn't word of mouth go? But wouldn't there be a word of mouth where they're like, "Yo, you get that magazine thing," or "You heard about blah blah blah"? It had blah 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 in it.
And they're only going to do that when it's something that they need. Like you said, if you say the Paterson development is doing free Lyft rides to job interviews. So people who need jobs, they're going to reach out to each other like, "Yo, you saw that you heard about that that email."
I agree.
They're going to call each other, but everybody else probably won't know nothing about it. It's the niche groups that need it at the time. If you put an ad in there and say, here's a list of plumbers who are working, who have already committed to doing plumbing for Paterson residents at 70% discount. Only people who need plumbing is going to be the ones who are going to, by word of mouth, get around to everybody else and say, "Hey, yo, you remember that pipe? You want a new toilet? He doing it at 70%. Call this guy. Go on your email." That's how it's going to work. But nobody is just going to open it just because they want information.
Would they look at 20 parent TikToks that you need to know right now, and then they featured in there 20 TikTok content creators? Would they go to that? Would they click on that in that magazine?
No, because they probably already know the TikTok. What's names?
What if they don't?
Beautiful people. Let me tell you something. We're gonna have to reconvene this conversation at a later time, because we're knocking on 2 hours of being on this podcast, and I gotta get up at 3:00 in the morning. At 3 o'clock, and it's already 11.
Well, you see my background. The sun is still shining.
Well, let's talk more about it, because that's something that I will be doing for New Jersey, is providing this family magazine, and it's free, and it is digital.
Okay. Let's definitely talk
All
about
right.
it.
And okay.
So I want to say thank you to Miss Natasha Parilla for joining my crazy podcast tonight. For those who are just tuning in and for those who don't know, Natasha Parilla, this is my older sister. That's my big sis. We actually related. But yeah, she the good sister. I'm the bad sister. It just worked out
I was
that
just
way.
about to say that. That's all good stuff went to, and that's what all bad stuff went to.
It just worked out that way, you know. You gotta have the good girl and the bad girl. My sister just happened to be the good girl. But it is what it is. And I thank you for coming on, Tasha, to give us your expertise and everything that you do. I do appreciate you for blessing us tonight. And Derek, that's my sister.
I know.
Thanks,
I've
everybody.
seen
Yeah, it
pictures.
was nice being a part of your conversation.
Even though, you know, we crazy. They like, you know, but it is what it is.
It's okay.
And and I want to thank my viewers for, you know, coming on, for everybody joining the conversation tonight. This will be a part 2 to this conversation. We're gonna grab Miss Darlene and have Miss Big D come up here and bless us with her presence. And I just want to thank y'all. So I don't really have nothing else to say. So Derek or Sean or Tasha, if you have any parting words before we click off, do so now.
Have a good night.
Derek, you got anything you need to say?
We have to be the change that we want to see. We have to be able and be willing to listen and be and know what our community needs before we can tell them, before we can stuff resources down their throat. We need to be able to know what they need and produce the things that they need, and then we will see the success that we want to see.
Got you. Sean?
I just think that
everybody.
think we all
haven't heard it in a while.
I think we all need to be held accountable. The same way that we hold elected officials accountable, the same that we hold teachers accountable, the same that we hold principals and cops and all of these different people, we have to hold the general public and the parents accountable as well. If you can spend enough time at happy hour, you can spend time at the PTO or PTA or whatever meetings you need to be getting to. The same way that you can creep over at Ray Ray's house. You can be over at wherever school meeting, like whatever the case is. We spend a lot of time doing nonsense.
Absolutely.
Instead of investing in what we really need to invest in. How do I know? I used to be a part of the problem, so I know that it's actually an issue. I mean, so I think we need to hold our parents accountable as well. And at the end of that, I'll say, let's get back to family.
There we go. Yay. We ain't heard that in 3 weeks, y'all.
Do y'all have that on t-shirts?
We need to.
Not yet. We getting them. They coming. The Candid Conversations t-shirts are coming. All right, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. We see y'all next week. Don't forget, we got 4 more episodes before Candid Conversations go on their monthly break. So we will see y'all next Tuesday, same time, same place. As always, love, peace, and blessings. Good night, everybody. Hey, how's Oregon?
It's cool. It's cool. I should have just stayed off.
Wait, I don't know if it ends it. It keeps saying in stream.